Welcome back. Despite COVID-19 concerns, there have been numerous parties around Lawrence since the campus reopening, including a large gathering on Mississippi Street that caught the attention of social media users across the country. Given these parties, should students who are caught hosting large gatherings be expelled from the university? I'm here with Jerome Sweeney to hear his side.
I think it's very interesting that kids are throwing these parties, after they've all quarantined for the last 5 months, been away from the universities, that we were all well aware of, the penalties and of the disease and, what could happen. But I think expulsion is absolutely 100% ridiculous. They're college kids. You can't leave you can't have a college kid in college for 2 years, send them home for the rest of a semester, and then expect to bring them back and have nothing happen. It's like you take someone out of school, and then you bring them back and expect them not to try to go back to their normal lifestyle. I mean, it's very interesting because there's been a lot of social gatherings that have gone under the radar too, not just the one on Mississippi Street. So it's like the cops legally cannot do anything to these parties, and how can the university justify doing something if the Lawrence Police Department can't even justify doing anything? And I know they came out with a ordinance that's going to bring house fines to the places that are throwing the parties. But I mean, I think end of the day, it's college kids being college kids, and there's nothing that you can do to stop college kids from being college kids and having fun with their friends. It's just, yes.
Well, I think that if the university has said that there's going to be severe penalties for hosting parties, then how do you expect students to follow these rules if the university doesn't follow through on enforcing them?
I don't think they will follow the rules, even in the first place. It's, the university, they can send out emails all they want. End of the day, it's the Lawrence Police Department needs to be enforcing it, and until the Lawrence Police Department is enforcing these regulations and laws, I don't think there's going to be any slowing down from any house party going on. You can keep the bars closed as long as you want. That's just going to bring more people to these types of house parties. As you see, it's just, I don't know. It's a very tough spot for the university and college students, the police department to be in. The CDC's in a tough spot right now because there's been, I think, 55,000 confirmed cases in Douglas County. There's only been 10 deaths. So I mean, it's a very low fatality rate for this disease, but it is a very real disease. And it spreads very rapidly, and who knows where these kids are going after these parties. Who knows, are they going to class and seeing their professors, or are they going home to their families after that? I mean, I think there definitely needs to be some sort of a way to reprimand the students that are hosting these parties, but I don't think expulsion is just absurd because of all the money that they pay to be here. I mean, as an out-of-state student, it's very expensive to come just to the university, and I know rent for houses is not cheap. So they're putting it's an investment to come here, and like I said before, if you send kids home after, a real college experience, social life, no masks, no social distancing, and then you bring them back with, not much to do, and, you keep them locked up, quarantining for, weeks, and then, they get out of their quarantine, they want to see their friends, they can't go to their favorite gathering places to see them, so then they're just going to, someone's going to throw a party, everyone's going to show up, and, it's going to make the news. It's a recipe for disaster is what it is.
Well, I know at the University of Missouri, they expelled some students, but some students were only given suspensions. Do you believe that suspension should be given to students who host parties?
I think that it should just be more of a, like a required quarantine for them, and then maybe almost like, I think it should just be a fine. A suspension is more. It's more like slap on the wrist. Don't do your school. So if they get suspended for a party, it's going to be motivation for them not to attend their Zoom class, not to go to class. If you find them and next time you get a ticket or something on your permanent record, that will be the way to stop this. If not, it is just not gonna. It's not gonna stop. Expulsion. That's not gonna stop kids from partying because they still have a lease and they signed a contract for their house. They can't get out of that contract for their house.
So you talked about a mandatory quarantine, but if these students are throwing parties, if these are large gatherings, and we have students not being suspended, not being expelled, coming back on campus, how do we prevent this disease from spreading all across campus?
I think, the only way to do it would be, a mandatory 2-week quarantine for everyone on the university. Everyone needs to be tested more than they are now. I mean, everyone got tested once when they came back, and, it's just a random selection for these, tests. I think it should be, everyone should be tested once a month just to see. And I get that, you can develop antibodies for this, but at the same time, we need to be, keeping better track of this. I've only taken personally one test. And it's just random selection does not work. We need to be testing everyone. It's the only way to stop this is to know who has it at all times, know who they were in contact with, and it's not gonna. You can't stop it without testing people because I guarantee you, all the people at these parties got tested once, either tested positive or negative, quarantined for 10 days or so, and then they were like, "Oh, I'm fine." Go back to normal life is what they're trying to do.
So with the university, maybe they move towards potential quarantine for those students, maybe not doing suspensions or expulsions. That might be their answer, but I know that the vote on-sided was near 50-50 the last time I checked, so be sure to get on-sided, vote for the side that you think is right, and put your arguments on whether those students should be suspended, should they be expelled, or should they face no penalties. But Jerome, do you think that these parties will continue to happen on campus?
I don't see, what's going to stop them. I mean, these city ordinances, at the end of the day, it's literally the Lawrence Police Department is the only force that can stop them. The university they can keep putting out these memos about these parties, but the only people that enforce them are the police department. The police didn't do anything at that massive party on Mississippi Street, and they, they're just unless they can physically enter the building and clear out the parties, there's no way to stop it because you can have 300 people inside a closed door and have no one even know about it. So it's got to be all parties communicating. It's a lot on the students for throwing it in the first place, which is dumb, but it's college, it's what they do. But the Lawrence Police Department needs to, take action in stopping all these parties from happening.
Well, I know this has been a controversial topic, so be sure to get on-sided, vote for your side, and put up your arguments. We're going to take it to commercial, and we'll be right back.